Have you ever wondered how much money it really takes to start a 5-acre oil palm plantation? Not what people claim on social media, not the unrealistic figures that leave out half the expenses, the real cost. Because many people say, I'm planning to invest in oil palm, but they have no idea where the money actually goes. Some buy land and then discover they can't afford seedlings. Others plant the seedlings but run out of money before maintaining the farm. And a surprising number of plantations fail, not because oil palm isn't profitable, but because the owner underestimated the true startup cost. So in this video, we're going to break down every major expense one by one, from buying the land, to clearing it, to purchasing seedlings, to labor, to fertilizer, to maintenance. And by the end of this video, you'll know approximately how much money you should realistically prepare before planting your first 5 acres. Let's begin. The first expense is the land itself. This is also the biggest expense for most beginners. Now here's something many people don't realize. There is no fixed price for farmland. 5 acres can cost very different amounts depending on the country, state, road access, soil quality, and how close the land is to a processing mill. Land in remote areas is usually cheaper. Land close to major roads and palm oil markets is often much more expensive. For this example, let's assume you're buying suitable agricultural land at around $2,000 per acre. For 5 acres, that's approximately $10,000. If you already own suitable farmland, congratulations. You just eliminated the biggest startup cost. Now the second expense, land clearing. Unless you're buying already cleared farmland, you'll need to prepare it for planting. Depending on the condition of the land, this could involve cutting bushes, removing small trees, clearing debris, and preparing planting rows. The thicker the vegetation, the higher the cost. For 5 acres, land clearing could easily cost around $1,000 to $2,000. Let's use $1,500 for this video. Notice something already. Before you've planted a single palm tree, you've already spent over $11,000. And we're just getting started. The third expense is surveying and layout. This is one cost many beginners skip. Big mistake. Oil palms need proper spacing. Planting too close reduces sunlight. Planting too far wastes land. A proper layout ensures every tree has enough room to grow for decades. Professional surveying and field layout may cost a few $100s, but it can prevent expensive mistakes later. Let's estimate around $300. Now let's talk about seedlings. This is where some people make another costly mistake. They buy the cheapest seedlings they can find. But remember, an oil palm tree can produce for more than 20 years. Saving a few dollars today by buying poor quality seedlings can cost thousands in lost harvests later. For 5 acres, planted at about 58 to 60 trees per acre, you'll need roughly 300 seedlings. If each high-quality seedling costs around $10, that's about $3,000. Never compromise on planting material. You're making a decision that will affect your farm for decades. Next comes transporting those seedlings to your farm. Many people forget to include transport in their budget. Depending on distance, fuel costs, and road conditions, transportation can add several $100s. Let's estimate $300. It may seem small, but notice how these small expenses keep adding up. Now comes labor for planting. Digging hundreds of planting holes is not something most people can finish in a weekend. Workers will measure spacing, dig the holes, plant the seedlings, and ensure each one is positioned correctly. For 5 acres, planting labor may cost around $700. Again, prices vary by location. Now let's discuss fertilizer. One of the biggest mistakes beginners make is assuming oil palms grow well without feeding. Yes, they survive. But surviving and producing maximum yields are two completely different things. Young palms need nutrients to establish strong roots and healthy growth. Skipping fertilizer during the early years often slows future production. Let's estimate about $1,000 for fertilizer during establishment. Next, weed control. This is the expense people underestimate the most. Grass doesn't wait. Weeds don't wait. If you leave a young plantation unattended for just a few months, weeds compete with your palms for sunlight, water, and nutrients. Whether you hire workers or use herbicides, maintenance costs money. Budget approximately $800 for weed management during the first year. Now let's include pest and disease management. Even healthy plantations occasionally face insect attacks or diseases. Ignoring small problems today can become expensive tomorrow. Set aside at least $300 for basic protection and monitoring. Think of it as insurance for your investment. Another hidden expense, water. If you're planting during the rainy season, nature helps. But unexpected dry periods can stress young seedlings. Some farmers need temporary watering during establishment. Let's estimate $400 for water-related expenses. Next comes farm tools. You'll need items like cutlasses, hose, shovels, wheelbarrows, sprayers, measuring tapes, protective clothing, and other basic equipment. Instead of buying everything repeatedly, it's better to budget properly from the beginning. Let's estimate around $700. Now here's the expense many YouTube videos never mention. Contingency money. Unexpected costs always appear. A vehicle breaks down, fuel prices increase, workers need extra days, heavy rain delays planting, seedlings need replacement. If you budget only for expected expenses, you'll likely run short. A good rule is to reserve at least 10% of your project cost for surprises. So, let's calculate everything. Land, $10,000. Land clearing, $1,500. Survey and layout, $300. Seedlings, $3,000. Transportation, $300. Planting labor, $700. Fertilizer, $1,000. Weed control, $800. Pest management, $300. Water, $400. Farm tools, $700. Contingency, roughly $2,000. That brings the estimated startup investment to approximately $21,000. Remember, right, this isn't a universal number. Some areas will be cheaper, others will cost considerably more. The purpose isn't to give one exact figure, it's to show you every major expense so you can create a realistic budget instead of being surprised halfway through your project. Now here's the question everyone asks. Is spending around $21,000 actually worth it? The answer depends on your expectations. If you're looking for quick money, oil palm is probably the wrong investment. You'll spend years planning, maintaining, and waiting before reaching full production. But if you're building an asset that can produce income for decades, the picture changes completely. Many people focus only on the money they spend today. Successful investors focus on what the asset can return over 20 to 25 years. That's the difference. Before you rush to buy land, remember this. A successful plantation isn't built by spending the most money. It's built by spending wisely. Good land, quality seedlings, proper maintenance, and patience. Those four things matter far more than trying to cut every possible corner. If you plan carefully today, your plantation can continue producing long after many other investments have stopped generating returns. If you found this breakdown helpful, subscribe, because in the next videos we'll continue breaking down the real numbers behind oil palm farming. No hype, just practical information that helps you make better investment decisions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.